into. Glad to answer any questions about that. So excited to be here and you know, excited about everything that's going on in Arlington. So you could say, why would you, okay, you're in California, you work for Intel Corporation, why would you come be CEO of Arlington? Well, the thing you need to know is I'm actually from this area. I'm not from Arlington. I'm from North Richland Hills, but I'm from nearby. I spent a lot of time in Arlington as a youth. Some of it I'll talk to you about, some of it I won't talk to you about. But we had a good time visiting Arlington. And so it was a chance for me to come back home. And as I was making that decision, and I've chaired the Sacramento Chamber of Commerce, I've been on a board at the U.S. Chamber, I've been on, I don't know, 6 or 7 other chamber boards. I thought running a chamber would be a good thing to do. And after sitting down and meeting with the community leaders here who brought me in to interview me, I got really excited about the opportunity in Arlington. You know, I think Arlington is a tremendous place to do business. I think it's a tremendous place to live. I think it's a tremendous place to visit. Glad to be back here. There's so much exciting things going on. So met with city leaders, met with community leaders, got really excited. So absolutely excited to be here, glad to be presenting tonight. Arlington, I believe, is on a roll, and I'll talk about some of that in a minute. And I want to make sure that we keep that economic engine that we have in Arlington moving forward, not only for us, but for generations to come. All right, let me move forward, and I'll go through this fairly quickly. Let me tell you this, too. You need to know I'm not a city official. I'm not a finance person with the city. I'm not an economist. It's possible there are questions. It's more than possible there are questions I can't answer because I just don't have that level of expertise. So when we get to questions, just recognize that there's going to be some questions that I might not be able to answer, but we'll be glad to find you the answers. Go back in history in Arlington. 55 years of the entertainment and tourism industry being here in Arlington. Big decisions that were made, and I was surprised because I didn't know why Six Flags was built. Do people here know why Six Flags was built?
Yep, Great Southwest.
Angus Wynn, the Great Southwest Industrial Park, right? So it really goes back using the entertainment industry to help drive our economy and our industry. They needed a way to finance the Great Southwest Industrial Park, and the way to do that was to create an amusement park. That goes back 55 years. So we got that long history here in Arlington. Part of that history, let me go over some of the key dates. So 1961, Six Flags Over Texas opens. 1972, the Texas Rangers come to town. Great, you know, to the great work of Mayor Vandergriff, who, by the way, was engaged with the chamber and said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to get what I need to get done from the chamber. I need to become mayor. So he became mayor. He was able to convince the Rangers to come here to town in 1972. Hurricane Harbor opens, which I still want to call Wet and Wild because I've been gone a while. Arlington Convention Center, Globe Life Park, right, 1994. Convention Center, AT&T, and then the Texas Live announcement that was earlier this year. Okay, that's the history of investment into the entertainment district that's bringing 12 million visitors, 16 million, 14. All right, it's in the middle of those two. 14 million visitors to our community every year. All right, Texas Rangers, 45-year history with the Texas Rangers. And again, that was a period of time where everybody said no. The Metroplex wanted to do it, right? And y'all all know that history. And the Metroplex, other cities, Dallas, Fort Worth, whomever in the Metroplex couldn't get it done. Right? There was one mayor who would not give up and persistently went after it. And by the way, you know who one of the chief proponents against the Washington Senators moving to Arlington? That was Richard Nixon. He was president. He did not want to see the Senators leave Washington, D.C. But they made the decision to come here, and you know, that's been a great history here been a great history with the Texas Rangers and the city of Arlington. And what I say is really, over that period of time, I think there's been a great love that's been created between the two. It's hard for me when I think of Arlington not to think of the Texas Rangers. They're part of the fabric of our community, and one of the things that's great about the Rangers is they engage. The Rangers engage in the community, not just through their games, but through philanthropy, through nonprofit work. The Rangers are a committed corporate citizen here. You think about the vision, where are we trying to go? This is, right, no surprise. You see the entertainment district that's right in between Dallas and Fort Worth, and the DFW airport, one of the largest airports in the world, sitting right to the north. This is what makes Arlington work, right? It's that location in the Metroplex. It's being able to pull people from all over the Metroplex. It's also what makes this work for the Rangers, right? It's easy access into the entertainment district from really most anywhere in the Metroplex. All right, so where are we going? I say things are getting exciting. You're seeing a lot of activity. And sorry that I'm blocking this for some of you. Let me back up a little bit. All right, so you look at some of the recent announcements that have happened. Texas Live. You've got L3 Communications. Anybody here know what Blue Apron is?
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that Blue Apron was in Arlington?
So I did.
Yeah, producing food for people all over this, I don't know, it's maybe a 6-state region or something, but great. General Motors with their big announcement and investment. And of course, on that list in the entertainment district, we didn't include the decision to bring General Motors here, which was also a fundamental decision in the history of Arlington. D.R. Horton with their recent announcement to move their headquarters here. Champions Park, which is under construction, which is going to bring a really cool restaurant park to North Arlington. You have Arlington Commons, which is a new development that's taking place off of Lamar. Again, up in North Arlington, bringing some really cool housing alternatives. You've got Trammell Crow, who's in the property that sits right here at Collins and 360. There's very few locations, I think, in the country that offer what this location offers. It really is an amazing piece of property. So you're seeing a lot of exciting, really cool things starting to happen. What's not on here, which you could point out, which is if you came up here, there's so much too going on now, housing and different developments that's coming up. As Dick says, he lives right by one of those new developments that's, I guess people have started to move in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
About half occupied.
on 404 border, and then you also have 101 Center that's under construction. You've got the new library under construction. You have something called Legal Draft that just opened. If you haven't gone to Legal Draft and you like to drink a little beer, go to Legal Draft's tap room. It's really cool. So you have all this exciting stuff happening. The momentum is really moving forward. As the mayor says, the flywheel here is going. The economy is starting to really turn. Some exciting things going. Okay. The Texas Live, so this is a picture of Texas Live. I'm sure y'all have heard about it. It'll start construction this fall. This is one of the centerpieces of it. It's a 300-room hotel. It will be a really, really cool high-end hotel. There's a lot of people that are excited. The Cordish Company is developing Texas Live. You can go see in Kansas City and some other places where the Cordish Company has done development around ballparks. They're really just thrilled about the opportunity that's here. And we're getting the quality of hotels that we don't normally see. So high-end, really good hotels as part of this development. Additional convention center space, a lot of entertainment opportunity, outdoor and indoor entertainment, and this is the additional convention center space. If you're wondering where that is, this is Randall Mill right here, Randall Mill Road. And this is, I think this is Stadium that runs right here. So Stadium and Randall Mill. Really cool development. The Cordish Company is in design. They have a community association, a community relations, get the right, a community panel that's been created that's helping engage in the development of this area. It's going to be really exciting. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the transaction, and let me talk about this. As y'all know, the lease expires in 2024. Right, so the current ballpark, you know, if you were here, how many people were there that first year, that opening season that went into the ballpark? Right, I did, I lived here. The current ballpark is no doubt it's a beautiful ballpark. The lease expires in 2024. At that point, the Rangers are free to go wherever they might choose to go. So you're looking out at the end of this lease. And then you, as an elected leader, have to make a decision of what you're going to do. One of the things I'm going to say that really makes me proud of being part of Arlington is Arlington goes and sits down with the business community and says, help us understand what we need to do to make sure that after your lease expires, you don't leave. So tell me what we need to do to make sure that you have the environment that's going to allow you to prosper here in Arlington, not only for the next 6 years, but for the next 30-odd years. All right? That's a proactive conversation that the business leaders had. It's not waiting until you get to a point where a business comes to you and says, you either do this or I'm out of here. That, to me, is not a productive way of running a government. And someone who represents the business community, I can tell you that's not a way that I want to see the city work with the business community. When you have that sort of economic engine, you want to make sure that you understand what that economic engine needs to be successful and how do you continue them long term. All right, so conversations were had. The Rangers said, well, after 2024, looking at what we need to be able to create an environment that works for our fans, create an environment that works for our players, we need a retractable roof, and we want an air-conditioned ballpark. Okay? That's what they asked for. We have a belief that if Arlington doesn't provide that for them, and the lease expires in 2024, they obviously have the opportunity to go explore and look at other places. And if you ask me, do I think other cities are going to want an organization like the Texas Rangers, a world-class baseball organization like the Texas Rangers? Absolutely they will. Can I tell you who that is and what they're offering? I can't. But what I can tell you is that we're in a far better position at this point where the project is under our control. One of the things you want to look at is what differentiates you. Well, what differentiates us right now is that the Rangers have a lease till 2024. If we act now, we can act when no one else can. And that creates an advantage for us. Again, do I know what other cities are offering or what other cities are lining up? I don't know. I can't provide you that information. Do I believe that other cities will? Absolutely. Just look at the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. Did somebody step up for the practice facility for the Dallas Cowboys? Did somebody step up for the place where the Dallas Cowboys play? Absolutely they did. When it got to be a demand between the parties involved with AT&T Stadium, Arlington stepped in and said, come do business with us. We're a can-do city. We're the kind of city that you want to operate in. Come do business with us. And that's what you're seeing with this ballpark. And it's all about getting optimal value for everybody. Right? It's creating an environment that works for the city and an environment that works for the Texas Rangers. It needs to be a win-win for all sides. Okay? So the council will call a venue tax election for November 8th, 2016. The vote to put that ballot, the final vote, will be tomorrow night. What is the basic of that deal? It's the same deal that was structured for AT&T Stadium. So a 1/2-cent sales tax, 2% hotel occupancy tax, a 5% car rental tax. Okay, same deal that was done for the Cowboys. In the frequently asked questions, in the agreement with the Texas Rangers, which, by the way, if you want to find any of this sort of detailed information, just go to the city's website if you go to the city's website, unfortunately I can't do the few URL for you, but just search under Ballpark Project. If you go to that site, you're going to see the full master agreement with the Rangers, so you can read that yourself. You will see an economic impact assessment, which you can read. You can see the details on how that economic impact analysis was done. There's frequently asked questions, so it's all there for you. In that, there is an opportunity for the Rangers, if they so choose to do, just like the Cowboys had. They can do a user fee on ticket sales and on parking. Now, you would know that they could just raise parking prices and they could just raise ticket prices. But if they do a user fee, it allows them to bond. And that bonding lowers the cost of money for them. It's still, that bond is totally backed by just the sales tax, or just the user fee that's off of ticket sales, and the user fee for parking. It's not dependent on anything else, just on that. The Rangers haven't said yet whether they want to use it. Okay, but it's not a hidden secret. It was right there the first day this was announced, when the city council did their presentation. It's right there, it's there in the FAQs, it's there in the master agreement. There's nothing secret about it, and there's nothing new about it. It's the same thing that was done for the ballpark. Again, the Rangers don't know whether they want to use it. If they choose to use it, it's because it will lower their cost of money, and they can do it without putting any additional stress on the city. You know, the mayor talks about other people's money. One of the great things about sales tax revenue is we have people coming from other locations doing business in Arlington. There was a Visa analysis that was done that looked at cardholder transactions that said 52% of all transactions on Visa credit cards take place from people outside of Arlington. Okay? If you go to a Cowboys game or you go to a Rangers game, and I have to tell you, I don't know the number for this. So if you ask me the number, I'm not going to be able to tell you. But if you go to the Ranger game, how many fans in the stadium do you think are from Arlington? I can tell you there's fans from all over, not only just all over the Metroplex, but all over North Texas. And there's fans from other teams. Sure, are there Arlington fans, Arlington citizens who go to the Rangers game? Absolutely there are. But they're not the ones filling the stadium. And the same is true for AT&T. When there was a Guns N' Roses concert this past week with 50,000 people, including me, there, I mean, what percentage do you think were Arlington? Sure, there's some Arlington people there. I'm there. And there were other Arlington people there. But believe me, there's a lot of people coming from other parts of this region who are coming and spending their revenue in Arlington, and we're benefiting from it. So the complex itself, it will be a multi-use indoor-outdoor retractable roof facility holding about 38,000 people. So slightly smaller than today, but they believe that that's the optimum size to have a ballpark. The team will execute a non-relocation agreement that keeps them here through 2054. Special election is on the way of being called. The estimated budget is $1 billion, and the city will contribute no more than $500 million, and they'll do it through bond proceeds. And I have to tell you, I'm not a bond attorney again, so when we talk about bonds and how bonds are financed, it's not my expertise. But if it's approved, that's what the city will contribute. Okay? The initial lease is for 33 years plus 2 renewal periods, 5 years each. The lease will be triple net, and what that means is the team is responsible for operations and maintenance, not the city. The team also will pay a $2 million rent fee, and we anticipate getting them there as quickly as we can, so the goal would be 2020 to have them playing inside that ballpark in 2020. But we'll see after we go through the election and we get approval to move forward, those sort of final decisions will start to be made. So this is I think really critical. So people will say, they'll ask questions about the economic impact analysis. There was an economic impact analysis. You can find it. You can find it online. M-Plan is a methodology that's used for that economic development assessment. Beyond that, I can't tell you a whole lot. You can go on and you can read it. It's 75.7 million economic impact in Arlington, a larger impact in Tarrant County. Over the life in Tarrant County, it's about $4.2 billion worth of economic impact. Takes a look at a lot of different aspects of how that ballpark creates economic impact. It doesn't look at everything, right? It's not looking at what happens as Texas Live is built and the ballpark is built and north of Arlington starts to turn, and then the development between north of Arlington and the ballpark starts to come together. And you start to see things like you see off of Magnolia Street in Fort Worth. You start to see revitalization. Not all of that is captured in that economic impact analysis, but again, I'm not an expert on it. But what I can tell you is that the city of Arlington knows how to do stadium deals. And the way I know that is not because I have an economic impact analysis that's telling me that. I just have to look at what's happened. It's a factual thing. We built the Rangers ballpark. We paid it off 10 years early. Supposed to pay off in 20, they paid it off in 10. We did the Cowboys. It's about to pay off almost 15 years early. Right? We're using the same tools and mechanisms that were used before that we know work in Arlington. So if you ask me too much about the economic impact analysis, I'm not going to have a whole lot to say, but I will tell you this: I have significant trust in this city's ability to build, finance, and pay for ballparks. They've done it, and they've done it well. They've paid off early, and so I have that belief that they will do it again. This is the economic impact analysis. Again, not a whole lot that I can share here, but I will tell you, go online and read it for yourself. It's there to be read. That information is there for you. You can go read through that analysis. The thing I can tell you is you can find with economists, right? Put 100 economists in the room, you're probably going to get 100 different opinions. So that's how economists are. But I can load the room with economists who say that it's going to do a great thing. Those who are opposed to it can load the room with people who say that it doesn't. But what nobody can argue is what history has shown us in Arlington and the way that we've been able to build ballparks and pay them off. Not only pay them off, but pay them off early. And pay them off early enough that we can almost get a new ballpark built by the time the one before was supposed to be paid off. That's pretty amazing. And that's the opportunity that we have. Some other key points, and this was similar to with the Cowboys, if there's a cost overrun, the Rangers bear that. So if it goes over $1 billion, the city doesn't have to worry about the Rangers pay for that. That's what happened with Jerry. Jerry paid, I guess, about $400 million more than what the price was, came out of his own pocket. The team will host, sponsor, and participate in community events at Arlington. They already do that, so it's good to have them continuing to do that. Team headquarters will be in Arlington, so there will not be, okay, we build this great ballpark and then the team goes and puts a headquarters somewhere else. The headquarters is going to be here in Arlington. There is going to be an MWBE goal, and it's something that the city has on all projects that will apply here as well. We don't want to lose history. Now, I think history tells us a lot about ballparks, but I don't think our future is ultimately defined by history. Our future is really about going off and doing something special, but you don't want to lose sight of those who've been involved here and who've made a difference here, and so we want to reflect that in the ballpark. And they're looking for ways. You say, what are you going to do with the beautiful ballpark?
There's some people here that might not know what MWBE stands for.
Oh, Minority and Women Owned Business Enterprises.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that's jargon. I shouldn't use jargon. Okay. So the team and city will explore opportunities for repurposing Globe Life Park. So you're going to have questions about, well, what about that ballpark? What's going to happen with it? As I said, it's a beautiful ballpark. There's no doubt about that. The city and the Rangers are looking ways to reuse that. Again, I don't have the answer of how that's going to happen. Okay, don't have the answer to that. I trust that they're going to do something that works well for the citizens of Arlington, but I can't answer the question for you other than it's being evaluated.
Where are they building the new one?
So the new ballpark, if you take Randall Mills, or that one picture I showed, Randall Mill and Stadium, go south of Randall Mill and west of Stadium. So take where I showed you Texas Live is going to be and go directly south of Texas
So
Live.
parking lot east.
Yeah, is that parking lot E? Is that the right parking lot? I was going to say it's parking lot A. I
Oh,
think
it
it's
is A, it is
It's A.
Yeah.
I park in parking lot A. I ought to know that. Yeah, it's parking lot A. All right, so here's the timeline. So election on November 8th. Early voting starts on the 24th of October, right? Yeah. So if the voters, and this is the other great thing, is ultimately this is in the hands of our voters, right? Our voters get the opportunity to make the decision of what we're going to do here. You'll see that they're going to try to get into the ballpark by 2020. Okay. I'm going to give you some quick facts. I should have had these zoom in, but these are other things to keep in mind. Arlington has the lowest sales tax in the region. Nobody has a lower sales tax rate than Arlington. So keep that in mind. This does not change that. Arlington will continue to have the lowest sales tax in the region. We also have one of the lowest property tax rates in the region. Not the lowest, but one of the lowest property tax rates in the region. It really does.
It went up.
And in the proposed budget, it's going to go down a little bit too, which is good news. And as I said, history shows that the city knows how to finance ballparks. The Rangers are part of what defines Arlington. I don't know what the emotional toll of having a franchise like Arlington, like the Rangers, leave Arlington, but I surely don't want to be part of finding that out. Rangers are a world-class organization. They really are. This is an organization that farm system is one of the best farm systems of all clubs. They put now they're perennial contenders. We really do have an outstanding, and John Daniels, their personnel and team president. Don't know that I know all the titles. But John Daniels is awesome. Two great owners, and there's more than two great owners, but the two principal owners are great owners. So they're a world-class organization. And the other thing I will tell you is, y'all might not know this, but summers are hot in Texas. They're just hot in Texas. Being able to play in air conditioning is something that for the fans, you say, well, why do they want to do that? It is about fan experience. It's about player recruitment. There's a whole host of reasons why air conditioning makes sense, and having a retractable roof in summers in Texas makes sense. Not only for the Rangers, but for Arlington. The other thing that I don't have in here, and I'll show you this picture, and this is just a rendering, so just know that this is a rendering. So you look at Texas Live, and this is the hotel, and you can see AT&T, and then you see a rendering of the new ballpark. Here's the other thing that we're doing. How many cities out there have two enclosed venues? One of 38,000 square feet, 38,000 people, one that holds 100,000 people, that are coupled together that you can use as this unbelievable differentiator to go attract all sorts of entertainment opportunities to Arlington. It's really exciting about what we can do. AT&T is already exciting with what they're doing and what they've been able to bring. You couple that with a retractable air-conditioned roof and a ballpark, it'll be amazing. It really will set us apart, differentiate Arlington. There will be no city the size of Arlington. And again, I'm going to say something like I know, so let me just say this. I don't know this for certain, but off the top of my head, I don't know of any city the size of Arlington that can provide this kind of venue. It sets Arlington apart. Arlington's economy is built on entertainment. It's an investment that started 55 years ago. What we're asking is that we continue that. We do that based on the same formula that's tried and true that we know works. And if we do this and we get this ballpark built and everything else that's going on, I believe the future is incredibly bright for Arlington. It's incredibly bright. With that, I will end. Yes, sir.
Several points. I've seen cities who had an entertainment center in their places, and they almost had to declare bankruptcy because the entertainment area collapsed on them. That's another point that is not a guarantee. You made a point initially that when Arlington negotiates, they approach the businesses and say, what do we have to do to make sure you stay here? That is an automatic gotcha by the business is going to have to stay here, because they're going to say, give me everything I want. And how do you get around making that proposal if you're going to be caught in that kind of trap? I mean, it's a psychological thing, but people use that, and it's almost like blackmail. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's the facts.
I mean, I understand your concern, but I don't see that as a concern. I think you create an environment that fosters the attraction of new business and that retains your own business. If you do that well, you're going to create an economy that continues to grow. Is there risk? There's always risk. There's risk in anything you do. But I wouldn't suggest that you sit back and you just allow things to happen. If it's up to me, I'm going to control my destiny.
My question is, as an out-of-towner that comes in to rent a car, now, you know, that can get very expensive when I rent cars that I stay over here for 2 or 3 months. I mean, it's like $200-300. Because, and the man explained to me, because of the stadium, AT&T Stadium, that was the property, the tax or whatever that you guys decided to do for, you know, to help finance this. So, will AT&T continue to charge me, you know, I forget what you call that tax that he levied, and then the new Ranger Stadium, or are they going to charge, and they're going to charge me car rental tax too? So am I going to be paying two
Okay,
car
so let me ask you a question. So do you, and I do want to ask this question because I know I'm being filmed. And I'm being filmed. I don't think I'm being filmed by HANA. Is this HANA that's filming?
No,
All right.
I got permission prior to.
There was not. So by the way, this is supposed to be a presentation for residents of HANA.
Yes.
So I'm here to present. So are you Dolores? Are you a resident of HANA?
I live in Arlington, and I was invited
Oh.
here, and I go to church here.
All right, so I'm here to present to folks who are residents of HANA, and again, I wasn't here in the way that I was told. I'm glad, by the way, to what I presented. There's nothing that I'm not proud of what I presented. But again, the agreement is that I would be here presenting to folks in HANA. If you're asking me, are people who rent cars coming in here from out of Arlington going to pay the 5% on this new ballpark?
On the new ballpark and the old ballpark.
The old park has already been paid off.
Oh, well, they still taking it out.
Well, they're doing it for AT&T.
Yeah, AT&T.
So when AT&T is paid off, there will not be. No, there's 5%.
It's the
And
lease.
by the
it's
way,
the lease that
I-
stays till.
Is it the same 5%?
I can't, yes, I don't know, yeah. It's
She's
the,
asking, is it gonna go up to 10%?
I hear what she's asking. It's the same 5%. It's not a new 5%. And you know what I'm going to say to visitors of Arlington? Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's okay, it's okay, but you know, I'm just.
Yes, yeah, let's do hear from residents of HANA.
Okay, no, I
What-
want to know, if I go and rent a car, if now or then, I still have to pay the tax, right?
You will have to pay the same tax that's there for the AT&T.
Yeah. What if
Correct.
they make residents not pay that tax?
We'd love a discount.
Well, you're not a HANA. Do you live in HANA? Okay, then never mind.
That seems a little I'm going to ask
Yes.
the same question I asked the other gentleman. Can you explain to me why the venue is going to have fewer seats? Is there some specific reason why it's going to have?
They've done analysis on what's the right size to have a stadium. You don't want to have a stadium that is bigger than it needs to be. So they're gonna build one that fits right, that the demand is right for
They
it.
have plenty of space if they wanted to build a big one, they could.
They could. Yeah, they absolutely
So
could.
why do they not? Because they've been filling it up more than 38,000.
I have to go look at their average attendance, and I don't have the average attendance number, but there are times when they put more than 38,000 in there, and there are plenty of nights when there's less than 38,000
We've been
there.
in 35 minutes.
What's that?
We've been in 35 minutes.
Okay,
I'm in one.
all right, just let me do, yes ma'am, because you've been raising.
I was just wondering, you mentioned that word, revitalization. That's a big mecca. Arlington's really not that big, I don't think, mass-wise. I live in HANA in the heart of the city.
Right.
What's going to happen to all those people? They take their houses, you know, where are they going to go?
They're already gone.
Those houses are
They're already, yeah, there's no houses that are being,
Oh, that's a good thing. I'm
No.
glad to hear that.
It's currently
no, it's
parking
going,
lots.
it's going on the parking lot.
Okay.
But when I, anyway, yes.
That's a good point.
What about the last 4 years of the current lease? What's going to take place there? If this goes through positively, like, yeah, if
Oh,
this does come
they
through.
can, I don't know the answer to how that 4 years has worked out. I just don't know. I'm not trying to avoid the question. I just don't know the
I
answer
appreciate the
to it.
honesty. No,
So I tell you what, check in with the city and find out how that is
Okay.
handled. I
all
don't
right,
know.
Thanks.
If you're taking current parking lots to
Yes.
build this, where are the people gonna park?
Yeah, there's a lot of parking available around that area, and the acreage around there for parking is substantial.
I think.
So I-
There's nothing
The
on it
high-rise
right now.
parking, I think.
I'm not sure whether that's part of the development plan. I really don't know.
gonna hold
But
10,000
there's a lot of land around there when you look at AT&T and where you can park and
That
all
isn't
that. So
currently either homes or businesses or something
No.
like that?
No, it's all.
no, I'm saying existing parking lots. Okay, I'm going to do one more yes back there.
Question, did I read that the reason they're not gonna put a roof on the existing stadium is that it's too expensive?
It's one of the challenges with putting a roof on the existing stadium, from what I hear, so I'm going to tell you what I've heard, is it's challenging architecturally, it takes a period of time, and to do it, you would actually have to go play elsewhere. So there's a double issue of the cost that would be necessary to actually dome it, and the fact that you would have to shut it down for a period of time.
It seems like you're gonna spend $1 billion to build a new one, you could sure put a roof on it.
Yeah, but I would ask you this for your own house. If you had a house that's you know, however old, how much are you going to invest in putting a roof and air conditioning? And if it cost you a third of the cost of building a new home, are you really going to invest that much in your roof and air conditioning, or are you going to go buy a new home?
Well, well, hold on.
And then-
Because we do new roofs all the time, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, but not at a fourth of the cost of your house, most likely.
Okay, you said the city's going to own the stadium, right?
Yes,
And they're going to pay $2 million in.
a lease, yes, the
Lease.
Rangers will.
And where does that money go? It goes to the city to.
It goes to
pay
the
off
city, and then it'll be part of the financing of paying off the bonds.
Financing, okay. So if I go out and lease a house, I have to pay all the utilities. And so. that
They pay all the
means
maintenance and operations for the building.
Maintenance operation, does that include air conditioning, water, electric?
Yeah, I think,
But you said
Well, the previous speaker said the air conditioning has to be paid by taxpayers.
yeah, okay, let me tell you this, I can't answer it. I don't know who has to pay air conditioning. It's
40
a,
minutes.
I think we're done. It's a great question to ask.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, you're welcome.